Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some crazy battles from the Ultra League featuring a Pokemon with one of the highest attack stats in the entire Ultra League, Regieleki. Regieleki is a pure electric type Pokemon with the moveset of Lock On, Thunder, and Zap Cannon. This thing has no defense to speak of and minimal HP, it's all attack, which means it's going to be able to output some serious damage. It goes without saying this is not a Pokemon you should run if you care about your elo, but I got some incredible one-shots along the way. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Regieleki in action in the Open Ultra League. Hopping to the first match, picking up a very positive lead, Shadow Gliscor versus Greedent. Greedent, of course, the Mudshot user I'm thrilled to see here versus against the two electric types that I have in the back. Farming up with the Shadow Gliscor, looking to connect with the Earthquake, but Greedent says no, using a shield. But Gliscor is still very happy to play out this matchup. Gliscor can survive 3 body slams. They have 0 fast attack pressure, and I should be able to make it to another Earthquake. And even just landing an Earthquake would be massive here. I'm going to be able to get the Earthquake before they get their move. I wait the turn to make sure that it's not caught onto something that resists it, and the Earthquake will land. Unable to farm down, Greedent is forced to fire off energy, and this is going great for me. I have a shield advantage, which is very important if you have Regieleki, as Regieleki is not going to survive the fast moves in a 2-shield scenario. Ampharos does get a farm down, in comes Giratina, and this is a Dragon Breath Giratina. Dragon Breath will absolutely shred Regieleki. The good news is, with the energy lead that I have on the Ampharos, I'm able to continually chip away here with Brutal Swings. Brutal Swing after Brutal Swing is able to land, and now I'm faced with a difficult choice. I decide we're trusting in Regieleki. In comes Regieleki. It's a Mandibuzz in the back. This is really good. I will commit the shield as the Dark Pulse would do a ton of damage. The only way I see a lose con is if I bait. So I'm going to full send the Zap Cannon at the XL Mandibuzz. It basically one-shot the one-hit KO on the bulkiest Pokemon the Ultra League has to offer. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. We actually see the exact same lead in the next match, Shadow Gliscor versus Greedent. People love their Ultra League Greedents. One of the reasons why Greedent is getting double nerfed next season, with both Mudshot getting nerfed and Body Slam as well. Of course, to be fair, my Gliscor is also getting nerfed with Wing Attack, but overall you see a lot less Gliscor than you do see the Greedent. I connect with the Earthquake, landing that is huge because now I can actually go for Charge Attack priority, Aerial Ace to their Body Slam, and I'm going to be able to pick up that knockout. Greedent is down, in comes Giratina. I can't really afford to let myself get farmed, so I aggressively switch into the Ampharos. They're farming up a lot of energy on the Giratina, and this does have me a bit worried about Shadow Force. I rarely shield Ampharos in a Giratina matchup, but I'm actually going to shield here, and of course it's not the Shadow Force. In hindsight, they didn't have enough energy for it, but at the time, I was really confused why they kept farming, and I got a little worried, so I ended up really shielding for nothing. I will fire off another Brutal Swing at this Giratina. Giratina is going to let that through. That's some very valuable damage, and they actually let me get to another Brutal Swing. They're over-farming quite a bit. I'm going to aggressively switch back into the Gliscor, forcing their energy because I know that I can survive the Dragon Claw. The question will be, can I survive the Shadow Claws after? Yes! The Gliscor on 1 HP, making the Aerial Ace, knocking out the Giratina as it loses its energy. And in the back is a Charm, a Alolan Ninetails. Look at the charms go on Regieleki, but Regieleki is going to make the Zap Cannon, and that's game over for the opponent. There's nothing their Charmer can do. Zap Cannon, one-hit KO. And that's game over. We pick up a bad lead in the next match, Shadow Gliscor versus Poliwrath. Even though I have the type advantage and super effective Aerial Ace, the more shields that are in play, the worse it is for Gliscor. Poliwrath can continually slow down my damage output with Icy Wind, and no shielding even 1 for me would be catastrophic. But they actually don't press the advantage. Instead, they debuff and then switch into Giratina, and this allows me to put my Ampharos onto the Tina. I'm going to look to farm up to the back-to-back Brutal Swings. Opponent, very uncharacteristic mistake there on the charge attack timing, giving me an entire free Volt Switch. That's not something you're going to typically see around 2900 elo. I'm going to be able to fire off back-to-back Brutal Swings after 1 additional Volt Switch, and this will come very close to knocking out. The Brutal Swing does pick up the KO, but Disaster strikes as it Steelix as the final Pokemon. And I have Regieleki. Mono electric moves. I cannot realistically damage this Steelix, so I'm forced to bring in the Gliscor. I have to get risky if I want to win this game. I'm going for the Aerial Ace bait. Come on, shield it, and they do. Steelix players love to protect their Steelix. I'm forced to commit the shield, as they will go for another Psychic Fangs. They stay in, so it's Earthquake time. Earthquake, going to inflict massive damage onto the Steelix. I send in Regieleki. Regieleki has to do the impossible, defeating a ground type with enough residual energy remaining to be able to get rid of the Poliwrath. So I overfarm, go for the Thunder. Thunder should be able to pick up the knockout onto the Steelix. That's double resisted. In comes the Poliwrath, and Regieleki getting to a Thunder number 2, knocking out the Poliwrath. I thought that game was over when I saw the Steelix, but the game will end in victory. We've got an absolute nightmare lead in the next match. Shadow Gliscor versus the Shadow Alolan Sandslash. Shadow Alolan Sandslash beats this entire team. When I was trying to team build around Regieleki, anytime you're team building around something as spicy as this, you're going to have flaws in the team. And unfortunately, Sandslash is a massive flaw for this team to deal with, as I just have nothing for the Sandslash. I just have to try and play it out with the Ampharos, but realistically, I'm not going to even be able to do an amazing job of that. Drill Run is going to connect. My only hope is that somehow I can just 1v2 with Regieleki, that they have water types in the back. Ice Punch, nearly one-hit KOs. I'm barely able to hang on and make the Aerial Ace. The Aerial Ace will pick up the knockout. In the back, it's Tentacruel. Okay, this is water type number 1. Regieleki, I'm going to be firing off the Thunder. Zap Cannon would easily one-shot. Thunder, I'm not quite sure of. Tentacruel is very bulky. They also have a 30% chance to debuff. My only hope of winning this game is that a Thunder will be enough to KO here, because I need residual energy for whatever they have in the back. So I'm going for the Thunder right before they make the move, but the Tentacruel lives with a fraction of HP. They make it to the Scald and knock me out. In the back, no, it was Tapu Fini. If that Thunder KO'd, I win the game, but unfortunately, it ends in a loss. We see a very familiar lead at this point, the Shadow Gliscor into the Greedent. Greedent lead was absolutely everywhere today. I'm thrilled that I didn't see it in the back for very obvious reasons because of my back line, but overall, yeah, I was very happy to see Greedent on the lead. The most common Greedent lead team is definitely Greedent, Giratina, and then some manner of Charmer. And as long as I can get shields down, then Ampharos can do okay into that back line. They're going to be able to fire off another move, but again, this will not KO. I can survive it, and then I just have to wait the turn to make sure they don't get a catch. Because if they do have a flyer and they catch the Earthquake, then I'm in trouble. They double shield, which is a huge surprise. They can't farm down before I make an ace, so they're forced to fire off energy. And now I'm just going to bring in the Shadow Ampharos. Shadow Ampharos, unfortunately, this is a really awkward health range for it to deal with, because Shadow Ampharos is in a spot where it needs to Focus Blast. But Focus Blast is a lot of energy, so I would love to be able to Volt Switch it into Brutal Swing range. The uncomfortable thing is that I've taken so much damage to do so. This is charge attack priority, so I need this Brutal Swing to knock out the Greedent, but the Greedent lives on 1 HP. I don't think that I can win this just by double shielding my Regieleki. So I shield once, opponent denies the farm down with a quick switch to Sylveon. These charms are shredding through Regieleki's health bar. I make it to the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon means good night to that Sylveon. If it's Giratina in the back, this game is just a loss. I don't think I can win it. I don't have enough health, but it's Feraligatr. Can I make it to the Thunder? The answer is yes. Regieleki holding on for dear life at 1 HP, knocking out the Feraligatr with a one-hit KO. I have the Brutal Swing loaded, so the opponent will resign the match. Tricky lead in the next match, leading into an Alolan Ninetails. I stay to check the fast move, and I'm very happy I did, as it is going to be Charm. Charm user throwing on alignment, I will happily take the free wing attack, and then I can throw one, and then go for the Aerial Ace bait. A shielded Earthquake is terrible for me, a non-shielded Aerial Ace is fine, so the Aerial Ace bait is the empirically correct play to go for there. I'm now with the back-to-back Aerial Aces. I don't think I live another Charm, which means to get off the second move, I'm just going to have to click the Aerial Ace. They end up no-shielding the first, that's fine. I can force Switch or Shields with the second. They end up going for Switch, which is great for me, because again, Regieleki really wants the 1-0 shield. Opponent is going to get farmed down by the Ampharos. Ampharos leaving with energy. In comes Giratina in the back. Is Granbull their ABA charm? Quick switch to Regieleki, and I make it to the Thunder. This will easily KO. I have 2 Brutal Swings loaded. I think I can potentially be okay here. What I'm going to need is a Zap Cannon to put it into Brutal Swing range. And if I know anything about Regieleki, it can output some massive firepower with Zap Cannon. So I launch the Zap Cannon, it connects massive damage onto the Giratina, and it all comes down to this. Charge attack priority. Can Brutal Swing pick up the knockout onto the Giratina? No, the Giratina barely hangs on, and unfortunately, by the narrowest of margins, I lose to Double Charm. I'm looking for some redemption in the next match, as I really don't like losing to Double Charm, and that's not a great lead whatsoever, leading the Gliscor into Feraligatr. The Ampharos safe switch, the opponent was actually slow on the swap. They stayed in, took a Volt Switch on the Gator, and up energy, Ampharos can do quite well here. Realistically, switch advantage is terrible for me here. What I want from my opponent is shield advantage. If I can get shield advantage and farm on Gliscor, this game becomes a lot easier. And they shield, that is absolutely wonderful for me. And then the opponent makes a massive misplay. They thought it was on the 3 cycle, so they end up throwing 4 end of the move and double shielding. You cannot throw on alignment, especially when you don't win charge stack priority. Opponent will aggressively switch back into the Gator. I'm going to let this go. Hydro Cannon will do massive damage and bring in Regieleki. Regieleki, where it needs to be, up 2-0 shields, and looking to overfarm as much as possible. I'm going to farm up to 100 energy and CMP tie that Feraligatr, as Regieleki is winning that by a massive amount. Thunder will pick up the KO, in comes the Giratina, and I'm going to need to do a very careful overfarm. I know Zap Cannon will easily KO, the question will be, will Thunder KO? So I will go for a slight incremental overfarm. Thunder does KO. In the back, it's Tapu Fini, and this game is over. I'm not going to be able to make it to a Zap Cannon, but I don't need it. I can go for the Thunder. That's a full one-shot of that Tapu Fini, and that game ends in victory. Shadow Gliscor versus Galarian Stunfisk in the next match, and my goodness, do I need to keep this away from my backline at all costs. Stunfisk, this matchup is less comfortable than you might think, because it's really awkward to bait as the Gliscor if you're running Aerial Ace, because if they call the bait, you basically just lose, considering what I have in the back. So I'm forced to full send, and if they shield, which they do, then their pacing advantage gets even more severe. I can survive a Rock Slide, so I am going to let this through, but things are honestly not looking great for me. They're at another Rock Slide. I know that I do survive this, so I do decide to let this through. The Rock Slide is going to land. Watch for the switch. There it is. That's a Shadow Cresselia. Oh my goodness. I don't think I've battled against a Shadow Cresselia in the Ultra League yet, but Shadow Cresselia is going to output some serious damage. They could potentially have Future Sight, and even though I do survive it, a Shadow Future Sight would do a lot, so I will commit the shield and then just look to overfarm. Brutal Swing will very comfortably pick up the knockout onto the Shadow Cresselia. Shadow Cresselia will actually commit the shield. Tough choice to make. Do I expend the final shield here? I say no. I'm letting it through. The Future Sight connects. Massive damage, but the 0-15-15 Shadow Ampharos barely able to hang on. That will pick up the KO. In comes the Stunfisk, and I snipe it with the Earthquake. Earthquake will do massive damage. In the back is Venusaur, and sniping the Stunfisk loses me the game. Venusaur, unfortunately, is going to be able to pick up a knockout with a Frenzy Plant, and if I had Hyper Beam here, I could win this, but I'm running Zap Cannon. I'm running Mono Electric. I've switch locked myself, which means I am not able to catch. If I could catch, I could win this game, but in sniping, I didn't realize it at the time, but it actually ends up losing me the match. The Frenzy, KOs, and Ampharos is just much too low, so unfortunately I end up losing to a Venusaur. Hopping into the final match, Shadow Gliscor versus an Empoleon. Safe switch into the Ampharos, and for what feels like the millionth time, it's met with the Giratina. Consistently baiting out Tina is honestly amazing for Ampharos. This matchup, it varies quite a bit depending on how high stat product of a Giratina the opponent is running. If they're running a pretty poor Giratina, then a couple Volt Switches plus the Brutal Swing can knock out, but if they're running a very high stat product one, then it gets a lot less comfortable. This opponent not going to end up double shielding for no reason and overfarm to a CMP tie like a previous opponent, so they're just going to overfarm correctly and be able to pick up the knockout. They have a ton of energy. I'm going to bring in Gliscor. My goal here with Gliscor is I need to be able to overfarm quite a lot. I can't afford to take a third claw, as that would just get me too low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to farm up to the back-to-back aerial aces. I could have done one more, but I was worried about a potential catch. So I'm just going to knock out here, and then look to bring in Regieleki. In the back, it's Shadow Dragonite, and this game feels doomed. The Dragon Breaths are too oppressive. I only have one win con, and it's going for the Zap Cannon. They don't respect it, and it KOs. Back in comes the Empoleon, and suddenly we have life. The opponent with zero respect for Regieleki, and now Regieleki is in a situation where I should be able to outpace. I can Zap Cannon to KO or force the shield. Once this is done, I can switch and outpace and make the Earthquake. Opponent realizes this game is over. They just decide to let the Zap Cannon go through. That game really didn't feel like I should have won it, but the opponent did not respect the damage output from Regieleki, and somehow, against all odds, that game will be a win. All in all, I had an absolute blast getting to run Regieleki. As I mentioned at the start, do not run this Pokemon if you care about your elo. If you're still trying to make a legend push, don't do it. This is a Pokemon that I did go slightly negative running. I believe it was an 11 and 14 day. Ending on a 4-1, so the first couple sets were tough. I definitely had some games that I feel like I threw, and basically most any game I saw Sandslash, it did not go great for me. So overall, I really like running these extreme glass cannons. I don't get to run them very often, but it's a very fun challenge because obviously I'm putting myself at a massive disadvantage in every single game by running a Pokemon that is as glassy as Regieleki, but that's part of the challenge. Trying to use your other two Pokemon to position the battle in a situation that's actually favorable for Regieleki to put in some work in an endgame. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.